Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the monthly Zoom event we call Grow Your Mind. This is an event that is geared towards learning environments, schools, senior living facilities, boys and girls clubs, on and on and on. Wherever you teach people and people have the earning to learn, we are going to help you grow your mind. And I ask you one thing. You ever heard of closed mouths don't get fed? Well, we believe that closed minds don't get fed either. So we just ask you have an open mind with the information you're going to receive, but hopefully you'll hear something that's going to resonate with you and just encourage you to become an urban farmer like I am. My name is Farmer Troy. Yes, grew up in New York, but I am now a farmer, literally a member of the Maryland Farm Bureau, a paid member. Check it out. And I have two of my guest co-hosts tonight that are just phenomenal. They make me look like, sad with the things that they do with their gardens. That's why they're here, because they are experts in my mind. But I want to introduce, number one, we're going to start with Mr. Henry Lee, and then we're going to end this event with the phenomenal, fabulous Miss Laurie Weeks from the state of Georgia. So Henry, welcome to the event.
Gosh, thanks, Troy. You caught me off guard. I thought Laurie was going to go first. Do you mind if we do Laurie first? Because
we can go Laurie first. I
have the PowerPoint set up for that. So
okay.
All right, yeah, let's do that. It looks like
Laurie
is ready to go.
Laurie is ready to go first.
All right. Yes.
Always so excited to be here and just share, just something that we have fallen in love with and something that has just absolutely blessed our family's life. My husband is here right with me, Everton, and we were introduced to whole food concentrates and the power of plants about 3.5 years ago. And it has been a game changer for us. The changes that it made in our health and our well-being, the changes that it made in our everyday, our recovery. I'm super proud of the fact that Everton and I are completely prescription-free. And that really just sent a clear message to us that we need to get on top of this opportunity to really just put more plants into our everyday. So we are super excited to show you what we are doing right on our own patio. We're growing our own food. We're leaning into this, food independence thing, this clean living, this vine ripened opportunity that we have for us. So let me show you what I'm talking about and what we're so excited about. So as you can see, I
think we lost Laurie for a second. I know we're going to get back.
Okay.
There we go.
But steps outside of our kitchen door, look at how much food we are growing right on our own patio. So this is the Tower Garden home. And here we do so many of our herbs and microgreens. Here you see parsley and thyme. Pansies are edible. You also will see we have anise and rosemary. And Everton, if you could just show those peppers right there. Look at these peppers right there. Food when it is on the vine and then picked when it's ripe and then eaten, just gives you so much more nutrition and it tastes so much better. And here's the sage that we have growing. I really wish you guys could have the benefit of just smelling how good. It's just so fragrant and beautiful. Now look at this. This is like the ultimate meal prep. This is where we have lettuce growing and our greens. So we're always starting new plants and harvesting and then adding new plants. So look at all the greens. We have fib lettuce, Adriana lettuce. We also have some microgreen. We have some kale up here. And all of this is steps outside of our door right there. But you know what? we really wanted to take it even a step further. And I really love that this company allows us to do so, because we were allowed to just grow as our understanding and our excitement grew for this mission. We were able to add on to what we were doing. So that was a surprise to turn around. That is Everton showing you one of my favorite towers. This one I grow for complete enjoyment. This is my flower tower, my power tower. And so every single thing on the tower is absolutely edible. So we have nasturtium, which is also a natural way to deter like any bad bugs that you don't want to get on your tower. Isn't it so cool that I've never even used any kind of pesticide or any kind of chemical on the tower? Here's some chamomile, echinacea, lavender, more pansies, marigolds. I found some herbs that really just will support your system, steeping teas from this tower. So this tower just really just brings me a lot of enjoyment. This tower we have here, I just want to show you just how flexible. If you are interested in flowers, you can do that on the tower. If you're interested in all of your greens, you can do that. This one I would call my salad tower, because here we have our peppers and also, and then just look right here, hold these up. Look at all these tomatoes. I mean, is that a bumper crop of tomatoes? And we even have more tomatoes coming in. We also have some spring onions and some dill. They took a little bit of a beating. They're all bent down because we put the tower garden in the car and took it to the farmer's market last weekend. I just wanted to also show you this bumper crop of microgreen kale. The smaller leaves have more dense nutrition in it. And so we had the red kale, and we also have the green curly kale in there. And then the last thing that we had a chance to get into, because we were introduced to this wonderful, healthy living community, this is our juicing tower. And so on this tower, you're going to see it is filled with our celery, our kale, and our Swiss chard. This plant right here is like almost 2 years old. We simply keep harvesting from the end of it, and then it just continues to grow, you know, outward. Okay, I need to turn this camera around. There we go. You guys, this has been an amazing journey for us. It even is better because we get to do it together and get to, you know, keep each other, you know, just moving forward on our health journey. I so appreciate you being, allowing us to share tonight. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Don't you go nowhere, all right? You two stay right there, because Farmer Troy has some questions for you.
Uh-oh.
I mean, to the naked eye, you guys are living in the enchanted forest. Now, are you living on 5 acres with all that greenery going on? How is it all fitting in your landscape?
I sure am so glad you mentioned that, because we are growing all this food on just a little bit of space. We just simply have a patio and a vision, and that's all it takes to really just dive in and grow your world.
Yeah, and Laurie, you know, I mean, we are literally 100% supplying our own fruit and veggie needs right here from our deck, and I love it. And as Laurie said before, you know, when you smell the sage or taste the lettuce off of this tower garden, it's like nothing that you've ever had in the store. Just really so amazing. And every day, this is where we have our lunch. I come out every day, pick flowers, pick greens, make a nice salad. And then at night, we go to our juicing tower, pull off things there, make a nice smoothie. Just amazing. So it's a nice life. It's good.
It's a good life, you guys. And we're always inviting anyone who is on this call to please join the community. Surround yourself with like-minded, you know, health-minded, health professionals, health-conscious people. Any other questions, Troy?
I mean, just incredible. One more question, because you did allude to a healthier life and healthy living. And I know the Tower Garden is one part of that. Can you just briefly get into the other component of healthy living?
For all of our family, because not everybody has been able to grow their own food. Like, for example, when our daughters were away at college, you know, being served dormitory food, I mean, it was challenging for them to get their hands on good nutrition. I'm so grateful that the Juice Plus opportunity was there for the Children's Health Study, which, because I have an order of Juice Plus, a child will get completely free fruits and vegetables. And I'm so glad that I was able to get that product and send it to them while they were on their different campuses. And the health changes that they experienced were absolutely great. You know,
Yeah, Laurie, we lost your sound. Oh.
I guess that's all I have to say then, because I don't
Yep,
know.
you're good. We can hear you now. It's a little muffled.
Oh, okay. You know, 60% of students who were eating Juice Plus are missing fewer days, and, you know, 56% are taking fewer over-the-counter prescription drugs, and 71% are drinking more water. That's the same experience that we had with our own children. So yes, I would love for anybody to really consider just jumping into this healthy living community, because, you know, I don't think that we would have been aware of the changes and the health benefits that could be addressed through good nutrition for not only ourselves, but for the kids.
Well, Laurie and Everton, thank you for continuing to inspire so many just by leading by example in what you're doing, which can be duplicated. That's the beauty of it. We all can do a little bit better, but you are setting the bar kind of high. But thank you. I still love jumping, so I'm trying to reach that bar. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. And next, the gentleman who did not want to go first, making me look like the fool. You know what I'm saying, Henry? Thank you. But this is Henry Lee. He's coming to us from the great state of Ohio.
Hey guys, can everyone hear me all right? Awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight. You could be doing all sorts of other stuff, and you chose to be here with us. We forgot to mention at the beginning, if you haven't already, if you can put in the chat your name, your location, and how did you find out about us today? So again, I put those in the chat here, your name, location, and how did you find out about us today? So as Troy said, my name is Henry Lee. I'm a former educator. I taught in Dublin City Schools for a while doing anatomy and physiology, environmental sciences, chemistries, and biologies. And as you can see in the back here, I've got one of our Tower Garden farms. It's a vertical aeroponic garden that exists right outside of Phoenix, Arizona. A lot of people don't know that this is actually one of the gardens that feeds a good part of Phoenix, Arizona, the city here, with all their produce, because it uses such little land and such little water. But I'm going to jump into a little video here. I'm going to share my screen with you. To show you a little bit about the education applications, because today's is Grow Your Mind webinar, as you can see here, every third Thursday of the month. So keep that in mind. If there's anyone that you feel during the presentation would benefit from hearing the information, then you can certainly share that with them. We'll be coming back on the third Thursday of every month. So this is our good friend, Dr. Stephen Ritz, out of the Bronx in New York City. And I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you to see what he's up to.
Who wants to play? All right. You're it.
My name is Stephen Ritz, and I am CEO, Chief Eternal Optimist of Bronx County. We're gonna actually grow our own lunch.
We're going to grow our own food today. We're gonna go from seed to plate.
A tower garden is like this plant, but you don't need soil. And then the water comes up, and then it comes down and rain on the roots.
Adults think you can't farm in the South Bronx. Tell it to these kids. They're farming. For so many, food is the problem. Yet for all of us, food is a solution. We have some of the highest rates of juvenile diabetes and juvenile obesity in the nation. And we can change that. We absolutely have the power to change schools in this generation. I think I still see the seed.
That happens, exactly.
You mean I can pass it around and they can see the seed
Absolutely.
in the plant? My job is to teach kids how we can grow food. And I'm asking everyone to roll up their sleeves and get a little dirty and grow something greater.
He lets us plant stuff like salad, cucumbers, tomatoes.
My 4th and 5th graders came into a classroom with no windows to build a tower garden and literally turned it into a farm. And we talked about how healthy food builds healthy minds and healthy bodies, and where are we doing it? Right here in school. So did everybody plant a seed?
Yeah!
The excitement and the joy that these little kids feel putting a seed in the ground and watching it blossom. OMG, as they say, this is their moment.
I think he cares about us a lot, and he wants us to learn and have fun at the same time.
I'm not a farmer, but I'm planting seeds.
He always says like seeds are like people because they need love and they grow and grow and grow to be successful people.
To use 21st century technology to generate food and to create this beautiful thing to sit by that you can actually eat is game-changing. It's empowering. They're growing. The plants are growing, and they're responsible for it. And when they know they can grow their own, they really start changing the way they see their relationship to the world and their place in it. Big one. Are you gonna eat it? I want it. Is it good? I love it. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back and then we're gonna get some.
All right. So as you can see, the devices that Dr. Stephen Ritz introduced you to there are called tower gardens. It's a culmination of NASA research back in the late 90s and early 2000s. They came up with something called aeroponic gardening, which is better than even hydroponic because the roots don't sit in water. They hang in the air in that center console. Disney World picked it up and Epcot Center incorporated it within the land exhibit. So if you've ever been down there to Epcot, anyone ever been to Epcot before? Show of hands. So Epcot Center, the land exhibit, you've probably seen these tower gardens there before. Inventor of tower gardens, Tim Blank, and Chief Technology Officer shared on Tuesday, I believe. And we'll get the recording to you as soon as that comes out. But he just did a phenomenal job of explaining the history behind it. And we're going to go ahead and describe the benefits within the educational settings. So this is one of the classrooms that we have here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm located here in the center of Ohio, and in Columbus Public City Schools, combined with a project called Urban Gems at The Ohio State University. We have over 50 of these vertical garden systems that are 7 stacks tall. They're basically about 7 feet tall with the LED lights hanging around the side, so they can grow full year round, with a mobile kitchen in the top right here that we can take out into the public. The top comes off, the side comes off, and you have 2 tables. And out of that kitchen there comes a burner and all sorts of other stuff that they use to take the produce from the tower gardens, throw it into the blender, and make all sorts of different just different meals and educate the community on the value of eating fresh produce. And so this is what our classrooms look like. But back in the day, this might look a little bit more familiar to you. And even today, this is one of the very few industries that exists. The classroom has not evolved as much as other industries. In fact, if you walk into a classroom 50 years ago and walk into a classroom today, you probably see rows of desks. You probably see students that are being entertained versus engaged. They're bored, they're disengaged, they're disconnected. They might even be pretending to fall asleep, like many of us may have even done so. And we take these classrooms and convert them into this. And so it starts with the next generation, where we're teaching them about sustainability. We're teaching them about the value of saving our planet because of urbanization and desertification. And so, when we grew up, imagine if our classrooms, our daycares and our preschools, our elementary schools and our high schools would be interactive, project-based learning. And it goes all the way up through colleges and beyond. So, one of the lessons that we use in my classroom. Again, I used to teach sustainability in my environmental science classrooms and my biology and anatomy. And this is what farms are supposed to look like. Rows and rows as far as you can see. And unfortunately, this is what's happening because of desertification and the soil depletion. And even if we do soil turnover and crop rotations, then we end up depleting the soil. The truth is, we have a population that is growing exponentially faster than we've ever seen on the history of humanity, and we can't keep up. So we get to find out, we are blessed to find new ways to grow our food. And that's why NASA decided back in the 90s to start developing something called aeroponic gardening systems. And this is how it works. The basin here is filled with water instead of soil, because you don't really need soil. Plants need the stuff in soil. We take this stuff out of the soil, concentrate it into the right proprietary concentrations that plants need. And beyond that, even humans need, because plants don't need everything. However, in certain areas of the world, they have certain nutrients that go into the plants, the plants absorb, and humans actually benefit from some of those, even if the plants don't need them. So we have the best concoction that's been proven, clinically researched for humans. And within, you can see here, with a 3-week time period, it grows 3 times as fast as it would in soil. I'm going to show you a quick time lapse to just show you how fast it actually grows. You can see at the very top, we've got Swiss chard, just beautiful, vibrant colors. If you taste this stuff, in fact, these tower gardens that you see in the back here, like the green onions that grow off of them, they're humongous and they are delicious. In fact, you will never find anything that tastes this tasty before. You can even grow like tomatoes and stuff. So these tomatoes down at the bottom, like these are delicious. And you can even grow zucchini and squash and all sorts of stuff. So, with this, the possibilities are limitless. You're not just stuck to leafy greens. You can even go into really like melons and zucchini and all sorts of stuff. And so this is nutrient dense beyond belief, because it constantly rains over the roots on the inside of that console. So I want to show you a couple different lessons that we use and a couple other benefits that we've discovered through clinical research, not just hearsay, not just testimonies, although those are great. We pride ourselves in that this is truly one of the most efficient and effective ways of gardening. It's not the future of gardening, it is the now of gardening. So this is one of my tower gardens here. And you can see within a 14-day time span, this is the same tower garden. And you can take a look at the Swiss chard growing up in the top, the heads of lettuce. I've got green onions and kale and all sorts of stuff growing in here. You might be asking, what else can you grow on there? And this is, again, a list of things that are possible. And there's even more. So the one on the left here, you can see that there's some smaller plants on the top that reach towards the sky. There's some herbs and such. There's the one on the right has tomatoes and zucchini. You can make one that is completely a salad garden. And Laurie always has like themed gardens, and it's so cool to be able to see hers. Just lights me up whenever I see what's growing on hers, and I get really excited to see them. She actually shares on Saturday evenings as well, and we'll give you the information if you are interested in seeing other people's tower gardens. And so again, the possibilities are limitless. This is a short video that shows how it actually works, but just for time constraints, I'm just going to explain. It pumps water to the very top. It has a trickle system that no moving parts, that drizzles over the roots, and it allows it to grow 3 times as fast. And so these are some of the benefits that you'll find. It grows 3 times as fast, 30% more yield, 98% less water usage, and 90% less space because it's vertical. And you can grow all year round. Some people down in warmer climates, down in like Florida and stuff, they don't need lights. They can just keep it outside all year round. Here in Ohio, we have about 6 months of growing season. So I bring mine inside and I put the lights on top. They're LEDs. They don't get hot. They're safe for pets. They're safe for children. They're practically indestructible. Again, because there's no soil, that means there's no weeding. You don't have to do any mulching. All the nutrients that you pour into the basin are natural. They're clean, they're safe, the plastic is food grade, and it'll pay for itself. So, you know, when you look at schools investing into their lunches, you know, imagine if we can convert these nasty chicken nuggets and you know, your macaroni and cheese, processed foods, and, you know, leftover sausage and pepperoni and stuff, but you know, they try to justify and say, yeah, we're giving them a cup of iceberg lettuce, but we all know what the students do. They throw that out, right? I know, I did. And imagine if we were to be able to put that into a buffet of things that you grew on the nutrient dense tower gardens that aren't even local produce. Because again, local produce means that it could come from 400 miles away. There's no regulation on what local means. And this isn't local. This is literally next to the table. We call this tower to table. And we teach the principle of you are what you eat to our students. So converting these kind of lunches into these kind of lunches is our mission. We also found through Ohio State University and Cornell University that kids that grow their own food are 5 times more likely to eat it. And it goes beyond that, not just you know, learning about photosynthesis, learning about sustainability, learning about the content of it. We are changing their gut bacteria. If you put the good stuff into your body, then the bacteria in your small intestines will literally send craving changes up to your brain, as we consider your gut your second brain, and transform your cravings. And just like Laurie said before, we have evidence to show over the past 20 years of kids eating these nutrients and flooding their blood with these nutrients, that the bacteria literally changes their cravings, and parents report that. And so you are what you eat. But it goes even beyond that too. One of the work some of the work that I do outside of Juice Plus is something called emotional intelligence. And that means going into the cells and really like addressing the trauma that has taken place in the past. Well, some of that trauma is physical trauma that you get from eating these toxins or these foods that have all sorts of pesticides and herbicides and stuff. And so going back to you are what you eat, right? We have ingrained our DNA. Our DNA is literally made of what you put in your mouth. And so this was a webinar that I did this past Monday. I can certainly get you the recording if you're interested in it. We're actually going to be doing it again here in 2 weeks. And it's based off of 2 articles that really are just 2 of a ton of articles that have been written since the 1940s called epigenetics. Epigenetics is this field of study of turning on and off genes, turning up and down the DNA. And the only difference that between your eye and your foot is not the DNA that's in it, but it's the section of chromosomes that's being activated. So that's why we don't have hair growing out of our eyeballs and eyeballs growing out of the bottom of our feet. And so these 2 articles do a great job of explaining that the epigenetics, that's something that you can control. Even if you've been passed that DNA on from generation to generation, doesn't mean that you are victim to your genes. Just because your grandparents had Alzheimer's doesn't mean that you have to have Alzheimer's. It may be in your DNA, but it's all about turning it on or off. Cancer, inflammation, autoimmune diseases, anything of the sort. 80% of chronic diseases can actually be either thwarted or even sometimes reversed using nutrition. or healthy lifestyle, and mainly nutrition. And it doesn't just stop in classrooms. We have Ronald McDonald House here in Columbus, Ohio, and then some, where we teach the kids, the residents there that are dealing firsthand with these chronic disease. And we are providing them with fresh nutrition off of their tower gardens. And community centers, we teach them that to have salad in a jar parties. I'm hosting a salad in a jar party for the first time since the pandemic next Tuesday. So those of you who are in Columbus, then you can certainly come join us. And those of you who aren't, buy your tickets now so you can reserve your spot. And one of my favorite places to work with is called the Kemper House of Worthington, where we're seeing the effects of Alzheimer's and dementia being combated with fresh produce. And I love this quote over here with one of my reps here, Caitlin. She is the activities director over at the center that works with all of our residents. Our brain is our garden. The roots are nurtured by the food that we eat. I love that. And so we did an activity with the residents where they get to plant all the seeds. They get to transplant the seedlings once they grew into their own tower gardens. They get to label and they get ownership of each of the plants that are in there. And then they get to eat the produce on there. It's so special. 10 TV came in and they did a special back in December, and we can get that recording to you if you're interested in that too. Food pantries and homeless shelters, we like to convert those into living green towers. And the cost effectiveness of it, you can take a screenshot of this if you like. This was done by the University of Mississippi. And this is just comparing the produce off of the shelf from conventional, not even organic prices. So these are the cheap ones. And within a 6-month yield, you can make up the amount of produce that you can, and the savings that you can have from the green lettuces and the zucchini and the peppers and arugula and such. And so definitely get back to the person who invited you to watch this presentation today, so you can learn about how to save some money and get more nutritious food into your diet. There's 2 models that exist right now. The one on the left was invented about a year and a half ago. This is called the Tower Garden Home System. It has built-in casters in the bottom, so you can roll it around in your kitchen or your living room. And it's got a smaller basin that is less than 2 feet wide. So it's aerodynamic, it looks great, fits inside of a home, and it can basically take up the size of an end table at the end of your couch here. And it gives you microgreen capabilities at the top. You can purchase the lights to put those on, which are interchangeable with the Flex as well. The Flex is more durable. It's got a 20-gallon basin at the bottom. So you can roll that one in and out. And there's all sorts of other accessories that you can put on. You can stack and stack and stack this 2 stories high, like we do have in O'Hare Airport. We got 26 of them. So if you fly through O'Hare Airport in Chicago next time, check Terminal 2 out. You'll see the Tower Gardens in the airport. The 68 restaurants in O'Hare actually share the produce that comes off of those Tower Gardens. Again, just to summarize all the great benefits of the Tower Gardens compared to growing in regular soil, and the 2 different models. This is what it looks like when it comes to your door or your school, and it's all turnkey. It comes with even the seeds and the seedling kit, the timer, the pump. It's literally plug it in, turn the key, and you're good to go. And this is what it looks like after 3-4 weeks. Some people want to go big or go home. So that's what we did. My classroom has 3 of them. And in the school systems, we call them a science bundle. And they give you a couple extras, like a tomato cage, so you can grow tomatoes and vine plants. Or you can go bigger than that into community gardens or something we call tower farms. And so this is a link. I'm going to show you. We can send that to you too, what that looks like in terms of tower farms around the world. And this has not been updated in a little bit, but you can see that there's still a ton of tower farms, even in the middle of the ocean in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii in December and January and learned about the expense of food, because everything has to be imported. And so that's why they have multiple Tower Garden farms in the middle of the ocean. You can grow in Alaska, you can grow in the middle of the desert in Dubai. And you can see some of these locations. I believe this one here, is that one Chicago? Yep, there's Chicago. So just a couple examples of where you can find these farms here. Because all of you are related to education in some form or fashion, you can see that our website has a specific link for school tower gardens. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you get all the free access to lesson plans from all the way down from preschool, all the way up through secondary education, 7 through 12. True Garden is one of our favorite places to get seedlings. And I would encourage you to check that one out, truegarden.com. The 2 videos at the very bottom of this page are some of the best to explain how this is no longer the future of food. This is the present of food. And these are just a ton of pictures and examples of tower gardens that we've installed all over the nation. Most of these are my tower gardens here in Columbus, Ohio, but you can see that there's just limitless possibilities. Restaurant rooftops, homeless shelters, community centers, tons of different schools. These are my these are my nephew and nieces. They have just a blast growing and picking and making smoothies in the morning off of these things. And again, all sorts of different places where you can find them. This is one of the farms that I visited in Hawaii. And you can find them again in stadiums all over the place. This is the Giant Stadium in San Francisco. This is actually, they have a couple of these tower farms that have over 1,300 2-story tall tower gardens. And the list goes on and on and on. So wanted to make sure that you had some information for upcoming events. There is actually one coming up here in about 20 minutes. So if you want to take a screenshot of this or take a picture with your camera, this one is coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern time by Dr. Valerie Miles. She is a pediatrician who's going to be sharing a little bit more about those supplements that Laurie introduced us to. Basically, it's taking all of that healthy nutrition that's nutrient dense and even making it more dense by taking out the water and and crystallizing the sugar. So that's all you're left with is the actual nutrients. And then you can take a screenshot of this one too. This is later on tonight too at 8:30. This is my friend, Dr. Mike Ewald in Dayton, Ohio. He's a chiropractor, and he's going to be sharing about his 21 years of experience of sharing Juice Plus and Tower Gardens with his patients. And then finally, on Saturday, if you like what you heard here about Tower Gardens, then Laurie and I are speakers on this, and we also you will also be able to meet 100 other plus tower gardeners. There's actually a Facebook group that they introduced that has over 23,000 tower gardeners around the world, and this takes place at every Saturday 8 o'clock on Zoom. So that was a lot of information. I usually refrain from trying to just word vomit on people, but I wanted to get you guys as much information as possible. So I'm going to turn this back over to Troy, and I'm going to zip this shut.
I mean, Henry, again, just phenomenal content and information. I do have a couple questions for you though. The Phoenix, Arizona, the True Gardens down there, any idea of the implications, the magnitude of how much they're feeding the community down there? Do we have any information on that one?
That's a great question, Troy. I don't have the data for that. I do know that they open up to the public and you can come and visit them. Because of the coronavirus, shut down and everything, they limit it to Saturdays now. And if you do want to go in there during the weekdays, then you can. You just have to set up an appointment early and they're more than happy to do that. So yeah, but it's pretty cool walking into that place.
Now, are they walking in and coming out with produce? Is that how it's set up?
Yeah, you can come out with produce. You can come out with seedlings, and I order my seedlings from there, and they ship within 2 days, or within 2 days they're delivered to your doorstep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other question is, I recently I spoke to a food bank, and you gave an example of what food banks are doing with that space. Any extra information you could add that I could possibly give to them? And we could talk offline, and I'll get some flyers or some other content that I could share with them. But can you talk a little bit about the food banks and and what we're able to do for them?
Yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to is the nutrient density, the quality of the food, right? Because a lot of food banks, they often have canned food drives, right? And so they're looking for toiletries and canned foods. And you look at the side of those cans, and most of them are just saturated in sodium. How long ago were those canned? They don't have the fresh phytonutrients, because when you pick something off of the vine, within 20 minutes, the nutrients starts depleting. And, here in Ohio, just to give you a couple pieces of data, because I'm an analyzer, 70% of our produce here in Ohio that we get on the grocery shelves comes from other countries. That's 70%. Of the remaining 30% of produce that I get at our local Meijer or Walmart or whatnot, that 30%, 90% of the 30% comes from the West Coast. So it's traveled thousands and thousands of miles. How long ago was it picked before it was actually had a chance to be vine ripened? And so it doesn't even start at 100% nutrition before it gets to distribution, transportation, redistribution, out to the shelves, sits on the shelves over the grocery stores. Then I get it, sits on my shelf for a while, and then I finally cook it. So this is, yeah, you couldn't do better, better justice than feeding people that are looking for good nutrition than Tower Gardens.
You said 70% from other countries,
Mm-hmm.
not cities, countries. That is crazy. But again, thank you, Henry. Thank you, Laurie. And I definitely want to mention, because we have two of these women on the call tonight, Kiana Alexander and Elsie Gould. They have an event tomorrow night called Mother Nurture at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we're bringing back Ladies Night. So all the ladies and gentlemen too, you want to tune into that, because they have provocative testimonies that they're going to share, and it's just going to be an incredible time. Then Saturday, as you know, we got the Hicks sisters, and also Lynette, Powerhouse Wright, and Latasha and Cheryl will be doing Self-Care is Not Selfish. That is special. And I've been a part of that, and I did some meditation with Latasha. And this is just some of the example of what this community does. We not only talk about healthy living from the nutrition standpoint, but also from the mindset and the mental and the spiritual. So it's overall health and wellness that is going to impact your life. And this is what this community is about. And as Laurie said, and Henry, we invite you to become part of this community. It is a global community, and we need more people to join us and help get the message out there, because the health, the disparity, it's outrageous. It's a true epidemic on its own merit, where we are as a country as far as our health compared to others. So we have to make a difference, and it's going to start with us by word of mouth. The same way you talk about a good restaurant or movie, we have to talk up good health. But again, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your day. And we're going to stay on for a couple of minutes afterwards. And if any guests have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. And if you feel you don't want to ask us, ask the person who invited you to ask that question. And we don't even have to know it was you. But we want to get you the answers that you desire. And we want to make sure you have everything you need to make an informed decision on why you need to start taking better care of yourself and your family and your community, and why you need to be a part of this community of inspiring healthy living. So that being said, good night. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.